Hello, everyone. My name is Pop Culture Guy. Today is the latest and pretty much special pop culture retrospective review. Of course, this is on the James Bond, Sean Connery fifth film, You Only Live Twice. Now, as everyone knows, this year is also the 10th anniversary of Skyfall, of course, another James Bond film, of course, Daniel Craig's third. But this year is also the 55th anniversary of You Only Live Twice. This isn't just a milestone for a memorable James Bond film. It's also the anniversary for the beginning of the end of the 1960s spy media. The 007 film series led the way for the spy media. Of course, it's four films, or the first four Bond films. Everything skyrocketed. Not only did the Bond series get bigger, but also created a market for spies of all sorts to how you say it, project spectacular stuff in the genre for the very first time in that decade. Now, by June 1967, when You Only Live Twice debuted, that upward trajectory trend had ended, or ended with a lot of the copy or the copycat spy uh, Bond parodies that was going on. Now, to be sure, Twice was very popular. It did well in the box office in 1967, but there was a fall off from its predecessor, like 1965's Thunderbolt. Twice box office total was 111.6 billion globally today without the inflation. Now, it was down from 21% from Thunderbolt's big 141.2 billion globally in back when it was released in 1965. Now, the fifth 007 film produced by the Eon Productions didn't lack any resources this time. Of course, Twice famous volcano said the Spectre hideout cost 1 billion, roughly the entire budget of Dr. No. Just remember, Dr. No had a very limited budget. And of course, with helicopters gripped with giant magnets swooped out of the sky to capture the Little Nettie's action scene during the film. Now, and of course, with Toto's help, a seemingly endless number of actors was available when needed with the big action scenes, particularly the final act. Twice has a lot going for it. Ken Adams' sets were spectacular, and of course, John Barry's score was among the best for the film series this time, with the incorporation of Nancy Sinatra's main Bond theme song, of course, title "You Only Live Twice." It was also one of the film in the series photographed by the acclaimed director of photography, Freddie Young. In the 21st century, fan discussion is divided, of course, but for me, it's the first Bond film that got me into the Bond series. I think You Only Live Twice has the best elements, what make a Bond film special. You Only Live Twice is one or couple times a Bond film in that it stays within a single country, in this case in the film, Japan. This is where the story plays out. Now, back in 1960s, the so-called land of the rising sun was so exotic for many tourists, and it was great that this film captured that. And the country's blend of neon flecked the streets of lights and staggering volcano that visas have helped account the feel of the adventurous Bravo in this film, which really captures the action and adventure feel to this film. Then there's Ken Adams' remarkable projector design in this film, and it's amazing. It's one of the best out of the Bond series. The hidden volcano layer is arguably among Adams' three greatest achievements in this series, the others being the interior of the Fort Knox engulfinger and the interior of the submarine in The Spy Who Loved Me. The sheer breadth and imagination of Adams' Spectre hideout demonstrate what Pinewood Film Studio could do, and help cement the location as a pivotal location for the Bond films. Built at then the accidental cost of 1 billion, complete with the working matter world, and the set was remarkably a technical achievement. Now, the long-term importance of this film, however, is incredible. That Twice symbolized how interest despite craze was drawing to a close. But Bond could carry on, but the others, like its copycats, including the US television series The Man from Uncle or Spy, I Spy, or the Bond parodies like Conceal, weren't along for this role when twice arrived at the theaters. Now, to wrap up this review, for me, I think You Only Live Twice is the best Bond film in the series. It's fourth in my ranking of the best Bonds, in my personal opinion. Is after License to Kill, On Her Majesty's Service, and of course, my number one, Skyfall. Everything works in this film. I really appreciate this film. Sticking with one location, I really like that we finally see Blofeld for the first time in this film. I think the late great Donald Pleasant was a perfect cast, and I wish he stayed with the role in the something appearance of Blofeld in the next two Bond films. But for this one movie and one appearance of Donald Pleasant's, Blofeld is incredible and really impact what everyone thinks who is Blofeld and Spectre in general. I mean, look at the Austin Powers. They really parry this uh, completely from this movie. And it's also Connery. I think this should have been Connery's last film. Despite his performance somewhat wooden or weak in this film, I still enjoy him as Bond, and I think this is a good film. I really enjoyed the supporting characters. I think Tigra and the Japanese um, female characters are awesome. They really have depth, and they really had good chemistry between Connery. Overall, I think I can highly recommend you Bond fans to watch this film. Give it a try. It's one of the best.